Yes. Good. Once again, good morning, everyone. How are you all? Now, let's start and discuss our logic, sir. When you go for companies, most of the things they will focus on how you can do hooks, how you can do performance, okay, and at the same time, how do you manage components, props, okay, and Redux. Redux plays a key role since it deals with the state management. You already understood, like when we did the to do application, you must have understood like everything in that application, what values are changing, what values will change to what, okay, by what actions it will change. Everything is defined by this store only, right? This reducer only. Everything is in this Redux logic only. If something in the Redux logic broken, your whole system will broke. Imagine you create a quiz application or a game. In this game, what will apply, what will change? Whatever the person, whenever the person touch a coin, their score will increase. Whenever answer correct, their score will increase or score will decrease. Everything increase, decrease, or changing positions happening in the store actually. Based on some reducer, it is happening in the store. And if something logic wrong in the reducer logic or the redux logic, whole program will be gone. So that's why they care more about this Redux. Let me show you one more time what we did yesterday, and then we will discuss CD Redux. Today we will see Redux toolkit. Okay. Yesterday I gave you a task to do using Redux. Okay, we just started in my application, and I told you guys to finish it. Did you guys tried it? If anyone not tried, please try it today. Okay, there is a time still. Okay, for the persons who did not who tried, can you give me the link? Let I will take it link. Tell me, not created link. Okay, but you not created. The link has to be created now. How do I know that? Huh? You just pushed it in GitHub. Okay. Uh, may I know your username? Huh? If anyone pushed, anyone had a link, also give me. Okay, someone did this to do list. I will add a task, walking, add, and it added walking and delete. It will delete it. Nice. Huh? Copy. What? No, I'm not getting it. Anyway, I will check it later, the code. Okay. You can share it in group. Now, the one who did it actually did it nice. Okay, this one. So, in my application also, if I open 5173, okay, I think yesterday I got it because I did not install the Redux logic. Okay. So, cd dot dot cd dot dot no cd redux to do npm install redux react redux. It will install both the redux and the react redux. Right click, inspect console. Use state is not defined. Go here. First main, nothing. App. In the app, did I use state? Yes. So I did not import the use state, which is wrong. Import use state. Could not find the React Redux content value. Please ensure that the component is wrapped inside a provider. Then where is this main? I did not put any provider here. I created store, yes, but I did not give the provider. So I should give something called provider here. Provider store import provider from React Redux, and I will use here that provider, and here provider will have something called store, and the store I will use store. Okay, now if I write it here, walking add, and it added walking with an ID, right? I just want to show it like I can put a delete button, and that delete button can delete this also. Okay. If I want to put a delete button, let's go here. Let's go to your app. In the app, sir, I'm not printing any ID, but ID will be there. That is the interesting point. Now here, instead of getting the math at random one, here I can give uh, math round. Sir, I am using math round random kind of one, but you can generate numbers based on number of iteration. Like first time if someone click 0, second time if someone click 1, you can put a counter which will automatically update, and every time the counter value will be given to ID. Okay? A state of counter value can be given to ID. That can be done easily. Okay. Now, this is not a big deal. Now here I'm not printing it. And what I will print, I will print here one button. A button, and the button will have delete, like someone did it on click, and someone clicks on it, and the moment they clicks on it, it has to do one action. Okay. But in the actions, is there any delete action, sir? Yes, delete to do is there. So you have to import that, sir. In the actions, same like add to do, import delete to do. I think some people already understand how the architecture is going on. Actions, first actions are related to the component. Component triggers these actions. These are action creators, actually. Action component triggers the action creators by using dispatch method. The moment they use dispatch method, this action creators, they will return some type and all object. Whatever this object returning by the action creators dispatches into the reducer. Based on the action, reducer will call different logic and will update the state. The moment the state updated, it will automatically store it in the store. And from the store, use selector will bring it into the component. Is everyone clear with this? Have a mind map of this, because when we are discussing toolkit, you guys can understand the difference between this and the toolkit. Okay. Now here, I'm just directly doing dispatch of delete to do. And the moment you write it here, delete to do, what will happen, sir? Here it will call this delete to do, and the delete to do will take it ID. So here I am passing it ID to do dot ID. So I'm giving to do dot ID, and then it will go here to do dot ID. And to do dot ID, whatever ID is taking, it is adding it as ID. Now here two things are added, type and ID. Type and ID. So then it will go to reducers. In reducers, I didn't write any logic for delete. So now here this one is the delete. Here in the reducers, case delete, and here I will write it return dot state, comma, to do's are nothing but, huh? I didn't get it. No. Tell me. So earlier I just pushed it. Okay. Instead of doing the pushing action, here what I will do, I will write it here, some kind of state dot to do's dot filter. State dot to do dot filter. And what you are going to filter, for the persons who don't know, filtering, how it will work, sir? Filtering means the ones who are accepting the condition, only those condition will come back. Remaining things will not come back. So now here I am saying it, whatever the t dot id, which is not equals to uh, action dot id. Why are we giving to do dot id in app component? Someone is asking it. See, in the actions, it is taking it one input parameter. Action is having one parameter na. So from where this action creator will get parameter? From the component only. Component is calling it. So component is passing action creator. And then this action creator got this. This action creator got this, and action creator make it as ID. Okay. If for example, if four items are there, only one item you clicked on delete. The moment you clicked on delete for any item, then immediately it will call this particular ID with that ID. And then it will call reducer. And then in reducer, accept that element. See, what I'm doing it, I'm filtering except that element. Which element you clicked on delete? Which element you clicked on, except that element, give me all other elements. That means that element is deleted now. See, understand. I am not actually deleting it from to-dos. I am actually filtering the elements which are not that one. Okay. For example, in to-dos, four elements are there. I am clicking a second element, clicked on delete. So except second element, I want remaining elements from the to-do, 1, 3, 4, and make that as to-do now. Indirectly deleting the second one only, na? Okay. You cannot do direct operations because state is not mutable. So here state is immutable. You cannot change it. Okay. Now if I go here, the same logic. If I write it here, walking. If I write it here, okay, I should make it this one again 0. That I will do it. Running. Now if I click on walking, delete. Walking, delete it. Got my point, sir? Did you get what I did? I didn't actually delete. If, for example, if four items are there, one, two, three, four. These are the four items inside the store. Okay. Now, if someone clicks the delete button on second item, now I am saying it, whatever the item they clicked, whatever the item they clicked, except that item, remaining all filter. So then automatically my array will become 134 now. Indirectly, it's second one deleted. Not directly pop operation kind of one you should not do. Got it, sir? Yeah. That is a basic one. Now the same application, what we did it with to do, that I'm going to do with Redux toolkit. What is the main difference with the Redux toolkit and Redux? We will discuss it. In that, there are no actions. Okay. Let's see. Redux toolkit also follows three principles of Redux. Whatever the basic three principles of Redux are there, the same the principles Redux toolkit also follows. But it is more simpler and straight way to manage state. This is the official recommendation of Redux. Redux team actually recommended us to use always Redux toolkit only, not the Redux. Okay. Initially, Redux is there. Later, they changed it into Redux toolkit logic. Okay. But most of the systems and applications are already using only Redux only, not toolkit. Okay. But they officially mention in their documentation, please use Redux toolkit only. Okay. They mentioned it. If you go to Redux website, see, Redux Toolkit, also called RTK, is our official recommendation approach for writing Redux logic. Okay, the official Redux team is also saying it like better use this one. Okay, if you are using Redux logic today, you should be using Redux Toolkit to use it. Okay, but old code bases are also already using only Redux only. Okay, not the Redux Toolkit. But now we are changing it everything into Redux toolkit. That how the what is the main difference between RTK we call shortcutly called Redux toolkit. Okay, what is the main difference between the Redux toolkit and this? Main differences. Redux, I'm using RTK instead of Redux toolkit. RTK uses create slice. RTK uses create slice. Okay, RTK uses a simple create slice function that allows you to define a slice of your application. To say easily, a slice of our application is nothing but one reducer. Okay, here we will create it reducers using logic of create slice. Okay. RTK uses configure store instead of create store. RTK uses configure store here instead of create store. Okay. Which has by default middleware. Actually, we didn't discuss one basic one which we will discuss tomorrow anyway. That is Redux Thunk. Redux Thunk is like middleware will be there. When asynchronous operations you are doing it, you will use the asynchronous logic using Redux Thunk. But Redux Toolkit will give you by default Redux Thunk. Default middleware will be there. Redux Thunk, you don't need to take it out and use the logic. Automatically, Redux Thunk logic will be there. Okay, and and it contains it contains Immer library by default, which manages state immutability. What is that means? Basically, sir, Redux state is immutable. That means you state is always read only, right? You cannot change the state directly. Okay. But sir, whatever the code we write, we like to change it directly. If count is there, we like to write count plus one, right? So we cannot understand the logic of how to write immutable one. So what we will do, we will write count plus one only. But this immer will convert that into whatever the immutable logic it expects. Ultimately, Redux will understand only immutable logic. So our mutable code will be converted into immutable state code by the simmer, which is also by default will be there, which you don't need to do anything. Okay. And we will do one program. Let's do a create to do. Let's do a to do using Redux toolkit and we'll understand the difference. I think you all understand how to do to do using Redux, right? Just remember it once, one more time, a quick glance, ma. Okay. And one more time, I'm giving a quick glance. Here I took one to-dos array, where I get this to-dos array from the state. In store, there is one to-dos array and I'm taking it. In store, one to-dos array and I'm taking it using use selector. And then dispatch. Dispatch will dispatch here one action creator. Action creator. Imagine I'm dispatching one action creator like add to do. Where is this button? One button is there. Something add to do button is there. Okay. Here add to do. Now immediately in the actions add to do will call. Add to do I am taking it to inputs which I pass it and then what this add to do is doing, add to do is returning one object. Add to do is returning object, right or not? Now whatever this add to do is returning, sir, whatever this add to do is returning, directly go to the reducer. Now reducer will check it based on the case. We are checking it based on action or type and then we will go inside. Sir, this one is common for every application that you have to write switch, you have to consider action, you have to pass it, right? This one is same. You did counter, you did to do. If you do 100 applications also, every application action has to send something type and reducer has to write switch action dot type only, which is like code repetition. So these guys changed it like there are no actions now. Directly it will come to reducer and reducer only deal with it. Inside the reducers only actions and reducers will be there. That is called slice. Combination of reducer and action is called slice. What it is called? Slice. And we will create the slices. How many slices we want? Like instead of to do reducer, we will create to do slice in RTK. So then this reducer, we created something called store, right? Create store. Now this create store is actually striken. If you see, the declaration was marked here as depreciated. That means create store is actually depreciated now because people are using it now configure store. Okay. Now we will see how the create store and the configure store works. Let's go here. npm create with at the rate latest rtk to do cd rtk to do npm install. Try to practice more and more with the redux and the react also, sir, because how much you practice, it's gonna be last, I think 3 4 months only. As of my knowledge, in 3 4 months react 9 will 19 will come. Once 19 will come again, you have to learn 19 also. Okay, so it's better you guys to face it up till now. Okay. Hmm. npm run dev. Okay, I need to install the things, right? cd rtk to do, and you need to install npm install uh, react redux, and you need to install redux toolkit at the rate react.js slash toolkit, something will be there. See, this is the package name, at the rate react.js slash toolkit. You need to install the both. Again, I'm showing you npm install react redux has to be there. Instead of installing plain redux, okay, I'm installing it redux.js slash toolkit, which is for rtk. Okay, now let's start it, sir. Now here in the src, I'm gonna create it one folder which is for rtk. Okay, and first in the rtk store.js. Okay, so however you know, name it capital or small, it does not matter because it's a javascript file. Now first import configure store from configure store, comma, create slice. We don't use any action in between, sir. We will write it inside the slice only. Reducer will be there inside the slice only. Actions also will be there. Okay, basically one file only. It's like a simpler way of redux. Okay, now const to do slice equals to equals same way how to do reducer, right? Same way. Now here you will write it create slice, and create slice you are gonna give options. Now in this option, sir, what options you will give? Name of the application. Okay. What is the name you are giving it? To do's. Initial state. Empty. Are you guys remembering how we used to do it in Redux? We used to write it in a initial state separately, and we used to write it in the parameter state is equals to initial state. Okay, but here you will take it directly, and you will take it in another array which is reducers directly, an object. Now in this reducers, you can create it how many actions you want. This is very interesting. People will think it like reducers means in this so many reducers will be there. No, reducers is an object which will take it multiple actions. What in our language like case add, case delete, case increment, you will write now. Those things you will write it same like cases. You don't need to write it case. You can directly write side heading. It will consider it as case, key value pair. Okay, so if I write it here, add to do, okay, and you can write whatever the logic you like it. Basically, add to do is a function. In this function, it is gonna take it like two values. It will take state value. You don't need to mention it. What is state? State by default, it will only understand this initial state. And here you can take it something called action. Okay. In this action, it's gonna have it like some payload. Payload means whatever you are passing it. Okay. And a type. Basically, if you remember, I passed something text na text and id. I passed it as an object, right? Usually in real-time applications, instead of passing it as an object without a name, people will write it an object as payload. Only two things they will send it in action. One is type of the action, and another one is what data you are passing it in the action. That data they call it as payload. What they call it as payload. Yeah. Now here action. Now here add to do. In the add to do, we just do action push action only na. So I will do it directly push action, sir. Return whatever the state logic is there. In the state, whatever the element is there in the state, just push action dot payload. Sir, I directly used push kind of thing. Sir, if you do directly push kind of thing, won't it directly do it as mutable? Won't the state directly update? Yes, we think it the state update, but actually state don't update it. Okay, the what will happen is state will become as new state, new value will become new array will become the new state, and that's gonna take care by immer library by default inside the RTK. Okay, now whatever inside the in action you will have two things. See, by default, did I define anything? No. By default, action will have two things. One is payload, one is type. Okay, and based on the type, it will only understand this must be the type of add to do. Okay, and it will do action dot payload. Next one, what if I want to do delete to do? Now whenever you want to delete something, what you can write? You can write it here, state comma action delete, nothing but same logic I used, filter state dot filter. See, when you write it here, state dot, it is understanding state as an array. Did I define anywhere here state as array? No, by default, always state is equals to initial state. That they know that. So initial state is an array, so that's why it will take it as array. Okay. So whatever always you will write it in Redux logic, by default will be there in this. Okay. Which is like the short form of Redux logic here. So state dot filter here, I'm using it filter logic, sir. In this filter, what will get filtered? Any element where todo dot id, okay, id is not equals to action dot action dot payload. Simple. Any doubt, sir? No? Okay. Or if you want to send it ID and text both, you can write it here action.payload.text action.payload.id. Okay. Now, what is action.payload is what you will send it. It's like I did not write it here anything. I did not write it in component. Na? When I write component, I will send it. One time I will send it as payload as one value, ID value. One time I will send it as whatever the text I wrote it in that box. Okay. It's up to the component. Till now I did not write the component. In the component you will see it. What is how I am sending it. Okay. Then next return. Sir, till now it's easy. Sorry, till now it's normal. Whatever the logic I did this, right? But this actions has to be dispatched in the this actions has to be dispatched in the component, right or not? So to make it dispatch, this actions has to be exported, right? How do you export it? Whatever inside this. What is that comma, sir? Someone is what is which comma? This one? To separate all the values, key value pairs. Okay. Now here export, you can just directly export, sir, whatever the values are there. Export const add to do, comma, delete to do as to do slice dot actions. Sir, when you are writing it to do slice dot actions, automatically when you write to do slice dot action, automatically this two will come, and those two I am separating it. It is like object destructuring the object. When I destructure it and I'm exporting it, so in the component I will import them. Okay. Someone is not understanding the delete logic. In the delete logic, what will happen, sir? In the action I will send it as payload as id. So earlier I told you the same logic. Now when you have 1 2 3 4, I will check it like the element which are not equals to id number 2, bring them only. So if someone click on delete button on second id, so except second id, bring it remaining all. So then automatically 1 3 4 will come. Automatically second one deleted only, na? That is a basic filter logic, sir. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's a basic one. Now next, sir, any store is created here? No, we created only slice. Let's create a store. Const store equals to configure store, and I'm configuring the store. In this store will need something called reducers. Okay. Now whatever the reducer it wants. Now in the store, what is the reducer here? Now reducer is an object which will have a reducer named to do's, and I will write it here whatever the slice we write it. To do slice dot reducer. Export default store. Because you guys already understand it, the Redux, you may feel it somewhat this one a little bit different. But actually, this one is more easy than the Redux. Because in Redux, you have to follow through 4 steps where component to action, okay, action to reducer, reducer to store. But here, everything is happening inside the slice. Slice is containing the reducer, slice is containing the actions. So from the slice, you can remove the actions. See, from slice, I remove the actions. And from the slice, I even remove the reducer also. Okay, and it will take it as a reducer for the store. You got my point, sir? Here, how many reducer you want, you can add it in this particular object. Okay. So this is a basic logic of how to create it, store and reducer and action, sir. All step will be done in one step only. You don't need any another file for reducer. You don't need any another file for actions. Now what you need? Two things. One is provider. Okay, main app you need to put provider. Second one is you have to do component. In that component, you have to dispatch these actions, whatever you get it from the reducer. Clear, ma? Can we write it? Yeah. Let's go for providers. Let's go for main app. Here in the main app, I'm gonna write it provider. Provider is same. Provider is not different. Provider is same. You will write it here. Import provider. Okay. And import store. So I just imported provider and I just imported store and I will write it here. Provider store equals to store. Any doubt, sir? No. So store, slice, store, provider. Now the component. In this one, I will write the component. What are the component logic we want? REFCE. Now here we are gonna write it to do application. How we write it? An input type, a button, and someone clicks on this button. Now here you can import. You can actually import it these things. Import, add to do, comma, delete to do. These are like action creators only, na? How we write. But didn't write it separately action creators and we did not write it type equals to something, payload equals to something or something we did not write. Automatically that one only will be created. Okay. So now in slice only we did this all. Now let's do this, ma. Let's start a dispatch. Import, use dispatch, use selector. These were common. Okay, use selector and use selector is used to select it from the store. Use dispatch is to dispatch the actions, whatever you got it. Okay. Any doubts sir till now? Sorry guys are getting it. Yeah. Once you do one to do application using Redux, if you do the same to do application, somewhat bigger one using Redux toolkit, that you will have in a good clarity. Okay. Now let's do it, sir. Let's do a basic one. Here input type is equals to text and uh, const text comma set text equals to use state. This is not a global one, this is a normal one. Okay. Now here on change. Okay. Now the moment they write it here, what they will do? They will take it E set text E dot target dot value. So now the value is stored inside the text value text. Now this text I will pass it whenever I click on the add button. Okay, this is a basic logic, sir. Now let's write it here. Add button add, on click, handle add to do. So let's write it a function handle add to do. So in this handle add to do, you are going to create it a new ID. So I'm creating it const new to do equals to one object. I'm creating it. In this object, you are going to give the type. You are going to give the ID. You are going to give the text or whatever you wanna give. Okay. Now let me give it here. ID is nothing but math dot random. Okay. Randomly some number. Okay. And math dot round, comma, text is text. So you created a basic object here, which is a random and a text. Now next one, you are gonna dispatch the action. Dispatch const dispatch equals to use dispatch. Hmm. Now here you are going to give an action, sir. Okay, you can directly give the action here. Dispatch add to do, and for the add to do, you can directly give here something uh, new to do. New to do, sir. If you see it clearly, the new to do you are doing it whatever is there, that is called payload here. By default, it is only taking it payload. Okay, if you see here, see, calling this redux action created with an argument will return a payload action. Okay, so automatically you don't need to say it like, sir, it has to be payload, payload colon kind of one. By default, it will take it as payload one only. So now if I pass it this one, this whole object will be considered as payload. Okay, that one only will understand and that one only will take it up. Now next, someone has to delete something. Let's do handle delete to do, which is equals to. Now in this handle to do, I will pass some ID, whatever the ID it passes. Dispatch, dispatch. Now here, delete to do with the ID. This ID will be taken as the payload now. One time it is taking payload as whole object. Second time it is taking payload as ID only. And that's why I write it there action dot payload. Now action dot payload in delete action is different. Action dot payload in this one is different. Okay. Got my point, sir? Any doubts, ma? No. Now here, this handle to do will get called whenever you write it here. Inputs. You need to bring those array. How you will get it, sir? Here, const todos equals to use selector, and using use selector you are going to get the values, sir. Okay, you need to get this all values, same like how you did it earlier. Use selector state 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 dot todos. I got the todos one, and this todos one I will print it here. Todos are existed. If they are existed, todos logical, and I think you guys know that, right? This is called conditional rendering. Todos dot map. Now in this map function, you are going to write it here each to do. Now in this each to do will have sorry, you will have it like div yeah, print print to do dot inside the to do whatever the payload is there. Okay, you can just write it here inside the to do dot text each element to do dot text and space a button, and in this button I will write it delete. If someone clicks on this button, I will write it handle delete. Oh, sorry. Control C. If any errors are there, we'll solve it. Go to the top. Use state is not defined. Now here I will write it walking. Any doubts, sir? And immer, see, this immer is there now. Immer is actually the one which will convert your state logic of normal one into immutable one. What is it saying? An immer producer returned a new value and modified its wrapper. Either return a new value or modify its wrapper. Why it is saying it? This one will go to the store. Store will take it action here. In this payload, it will get it here. See, here it will get the payload now. The payload is nothing but the value. The payload is nothing but whatever the value we send it there. And that payload it should print, right? Console dot log action dot payload. See, it's printing action dot payload correctly, right? But it's not doing the push action correctly. Mm, okay, see, understand it. In Redux toolkit, you don't need to write it return. Basically, immer will actually return. Maybe that is what it is saying it. Walking, perfect. A warning in a key is not a big deal. I did not put it by each child key is equals to index. I think you know that, right? Walking, running, coding. Any doubt, sir? No. No. Click on this. Delete on running. Now here one value is wrong. A non-serializable value was detected in action in the path payload value. So delete to do payload synthetic event. Now let's check it here. Why this one is not working? Console.log action.payload here and go to your component app. Let's see what it is happening it here. When you are passing it, I did not give any ID, na? I should pass, right? I just called here, but it is expecting one argument. Nothing but todo.id. Now it will work. If I click on delete with running, see it's printing this number. That ID is printing it, but it's not deleting it. It should delete, na? Running ID is 237. So my logic here is something is stopping, I think. To do.id, whatever the ID is there in the state logic, should not be equals to payload.id. Just I am checking it one by one. Sir, when your code is in production, like when everything is ready, you should remove that console logs. Okay, in production, it should not be there. Now here R A X. If I try to delete this, I'm getting it some proxy object of 0. This is very wrong. Why I'm get see here I'm getting the ID. When I run it 1, why it is running it 3? It thinks all 3 qualifies. Action.payload.id someone is thinking. No, it's wrong. Why? Because I send it only ID. I send it only ID. If I write it here, okay, for your case, if I write it here, see here when I write it here, action dot payload, I'm printing it 427 directly. So that means payload is 427 only. So it should delete that only. Instead, it should filter na directly. State dot filter. Okay, just check it once. Okay, why it's not getting this one? Check it the logic one. I think you gave the condition, but you didn't give the code for delete. I'm talking about pop method. No, you don't need to give pop method, sir. The point is the condition itself filtering. Filtering basically should update at that value. Filtering should actually make this state value to update. So I don't think it works with that. Okay, kind of one. Console.log todo.id. If I try to delete it, see, I'm getting that ID only. Todo.id is also same, action.id also same. Then why it is not deleting it? Action.payload. A, B, C. Now if I write it here, B. Now B ka ID, C. The second one is matching, na? Whatever except matching one, remaining both should come, right? Except the matching one, remaining both should come out. That is what I said. Return. Okay, someone did a basic logic. Delete to do return state dot filter. Okay, actually you don't need to return, but let's try it up. A, B, C, delete. Yo, it worked. Return keyword. So by default, when you are pushing this kind of things, you don't need to do return here. When we do here filter kind of things, we need to return it to make the state update. Okay, just check those things. Okay, try it on your own practice. I want you to do two more things like update, put it update also. Here I want it in to do application. See, I wanted to two things, update and complete also. It's like one thing, one button. If I get it here a text, imagine here walking. Okay, and walking will have something called update. Walking will have something called delete. And at the same time, if someone click on the walking, if I click, sir, if I click on the walking, walking should come like this strike, completed or not completed. Okay, if I again click it, not completed. You can try it on the on clicking of the item, or you can put one more button. It's like Done. You can put it one more thing called done also. Done. The moment someone click on done, the to-do list will strike out. Okay. Any doubt, sir? So total here four states. Adding a new, deleting, updating, and done. Okay. And I want you to do that using Redux toolkit. Is that clear, sir? Okay. Tomorrow class is there, and in tomorrow's class we'll discuss some asynchronous functions like Redux Thunk and Redux Taga kind of ones. Okay. Is this clear, sir, till now? Everyone clear? Yeah. Online, if anyone doubts also, you can let me know, ma. I will share the documents for Redux today. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Someone created it. Oh, someone already created it. Nice. Update. Okay. When I am updating, it's asking two things. This is wrong application. Delete, delete. Only one thing. Okay. How many days still? Sir, one more week. Next Saturday gonna be final. Okay. Next week, whole next week. Tomorrow gonna be complete Redux is over. Okay. Already React is over. Next week is just a practice of projects. You will have 3 to 4 days project, and you will have it like one day complete revision or kind of advanced ones, and one day interview questions and future map. Simple. Clear, sir? Yeah. Yeah. Final project is next week only. Yeah. Thank you.